Did you know that the foldable phone market has grown over 300% in the last 2 years? And that's from Pixel and Samsung doing their part with the Pixel 9 Pro Fold and the Z Fold 6 leading the charge. Now the real question is, which one deserves your hard-earned cash? Today I'm going to do a head-to-head comparison between the Pixel 9 Pro Fold and the Z Fold 6, because both of these phones promise to redefine the smartphone industry. But is one really better than the other? Let's talk about it. So here's a dilemma, and I know, and I've heard it from you folks out there. How do you choose between the two? Does it come down to price and features and how you would use these on a daily basis? I think it does. So let's dive into this together. So do you care more about the immersive display experience, such as in gaming like you would get on the Z Fold 6, or are you more focused on the best cameras available on a foldable? Or maybe you're worried more about durability and longevity of the phones. So I'm going to talk about those things and more, and hopefully feed you more information to make the right decision for you. Let's start with the display. We know that the Pixel Fold has an 8-inch AMOLED display on the inside, and on the outside it has a 6.3-inch display full of brilliant color. And either display, you get a really nice view and colorful display, which is gorgeous to look at. Now on the Z Fold 6, on the other hand, you have an internal 7.6-inch display, which again is very immersive, being a dynamic AMOLED panel and having that real crystal clear view. And it also has on the outside what they're saying is a 6.3-inch display. Now when you compare the two external displays, it doesn't quite match up to 6.3 on both of them. At least it doesn't seem to, but most of that's based on the bezel, this thing being almost bezel-less, where this has a little more bezel, but you still have the wider screen view on the Pixel 9 Pro. So if you've ever bothered with this narrow screen like I have, the wider screen might be for you. But either way you go, you can't go wrong, especially when you want the gaming experience would be right here on the Z Fold. As you can see here, most people really enjoy the speed and the refresh rate you get in gaming on the Z Fold. Now on the other side of it, if you like the camera function more, on the Pixel Fold, you have a 48 megapixel main as well as a 5x zoom and an ultra wide camera versus a 50 megapixel main on the Z Fold, an ultra wide and only 3x zoom. You get a little more zoom flexibility here on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and as well as the better photo processing. And we'll cover that here in just a moment. Now, between the two, we'll talk about battery real quick. The battery, they reduced the battery size from last year's Pixel Fold. This thing is now a 4,650 milliamp hour battery, down from I believe, it's a 4,820 milliamp hour. So that's quite a reduction. But the reason why they're able to get away with it, I believe, is because this is a 2-year newer processor, and their just power management is much better today. And then the Z Fold 6 has a 44 milliamp hour battery, which is the same as last year. So its performance and battery management should be better with the newer processor, but we still yet to really experience that. Now, an area where you really need battery is when you start doing photos and videos. So let's talk about that. On the Pixel, you do have this nice big camera setup, kind of more like an Apple style with the big square and the 3 cameras in there, versus the Samsung always being that streamlined straight line of cameras. They haven't really changed that look in a few years now. So this look comes down to personal preference. I actually think it's a better look on the Pixel 9 Pro. One of the things I want to point out real quick is these camera humps, what they do to the phone. As you can see here on the Z Fold, it makes it wobbly. You don't have that wobble on the Pixel, but you have it wobble on the Z Fold simply because of the camera and where they're located. And even with it open, same thing. The Pixel seems to lay a little flatter, and the Z Fold, again, it's got that wobble, and look at that. I don't know if you can see the edges there. The edge of this thing is just up in the air. I don't like that. This is quite a bit better. And when you look at these two phones together, you can see that the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is still a little thinner, just barely, than the Z Fold. But that shouldn't be a deciding factor or anything. So let's get to the cameras like we were talking about. So when you take the cameras outside, you can see here in this video that the image is nice and clear and the screen is very bright. You get the same kind of brightness on both of them. They're both really high in their nits for a foldable, both inside and outside display. So you can see now in this video, when taking a picture with the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, you leave it shut and you just take it like a regular camera and see how quickly it opens up. And you can see how you can just move from one lens to another fairly easily. You've got the 1x, the 5x zoom, and you can even go up to 10x zoom on this with no problem and get a nice clear picture. And then on the Z Fold, you can see pretty much the same thing. We've got a nice clear screen, It's very bright. And again, the camera opens up quickly and you can transfer from one lens to another, doing your standard zoom and 10 times zoom. So they both form pretty similar. And when we put these photos side by side, you can see how Samsung still saturates the color on all their photos. The Pixel remains a little more neutral or natural. And from my view, the photos do look a little more accurate on the Pixel phone versus the Samsung. Let's go ahead and move into an inside shot and see the difference. On the inside with full light, you can see that the Samsung does really well, and it even does pretty good with the outside exposure. Versus the Pixel, you can see it kind of blows out the outside. But then when you zoom in on these photos, like in the fireplace, you can see that the Pixel is a clearer picture than the Samsung. But of course, the first impression probably leads you to the Samsung, which is a really nice photo. Now, where these cameras separate is on low light. On low light, they really perform well. And the Samsung, what it does is automatically goes into nighttime photo, which allows it to allow more light in to get a clearer picture. Where on the Pixel, if you just take a photo, it takes it as is. You can see here, it's actually a darker area. However, you can in turn on night shot on the Pixel Fold. And when you do that, there's no comparison. The Pixel Fold does outperform the Z Fold in the night shots. So you go outside where it's almost complete darkness. You can see here with the Pixel, it'll take that dark shot. But then when you turn to the Samsung and you take a photo, it'll automatically turn on the night vision and give it at least a 4-second shutter to give you more light, and takes a really nice photo. And on the Pixel, it'll do the same thing. However, on the Pixel, if you put it on a stand, the Pixel will actually go into a night sight mode where it actually do a long exposure for 4 or 5 minutes, so you can take a lot more light. Say you want to take a picture of the sky, or like in this setting, you can see how much brighter the photo does come out and clearer than on the Samsung. Now, I didn't compare videos, but the videos are pretty much similar, where the Pixel will outperform on night shots because of its magic video boosting, where it'll boost the image, but it goes up to the cloud. It takes a long time to do, so it's really kind of cumbersome. I don't really care for that much. But it does take better videos at night if you go through the special processing. Now let's talk about software experience. Both of these came with Android 14 right out of the box. However, the Pixel 9 series is now upgraded to Android 15. It's going to be into next year before the Samsung upgrades to 15. As far as I can tell, it's not really a big deal right now. But as far as the difference between the two, you get more of a pure Google Android experience out of the Pixel Fold. Simpler and cleaner. Now, when you go with the Samsung, though, they give you that full-on customizable experience with many different apps and things that you can do to the phone that you can't do on the Pixel. So if you really like tweaking your phone and doing a lot more, the Z Fold is the way to go. And as far as multitasking goes, they both multitask well, but on the Pixel Fold, you can only do 2 screens side by side, as you see here, versus the Z Fold, where you can do multiples. You can do 2 screens, you do a floating screen, and then you can add a third screen on the side, so split one side twice. Now, practical use, I don't really see it because they become very small, but it does have that capability, which you don't get from the Pixel Fold. So for customization, versatility, and multitasking, I believe the Z Fold wins hands down. Now on the Z Fold, you do have the Snapdragon Generation 3 chip, which is very fast and it will outperform on specs and paper. The Pixel 9 Pro has the 4th generation Tizen chip, so there is that. But again, that's on paper. If you want to see how they do compare in a high performance situation, such as video editing, check out this video here because I do go over that and you can see the big difference. But as far as day-to-day use, they both feel the same speed. Matter of fact, this thing has 16 gigs of RAM versus only 12 gigs of RAM. Of course, that additional RAM could be what's helping it keep up as far as speed and day-to-day use of the phone. And that additional RAM does help better for AI features. AI, which is usable on both of them. The 16 gigs is going to make this thing work a little bit better with AI versus the 12. And of course, AI is originated from Google, and Samsung is using them or paying for use of AI on the Z Fold 6. I think the bottom line comes down to what we started off with. Do you prefer the best cameras or the best photo capabilities on a foldable, or do you prefer customization and more productivity options? So those are things that only you can decide. In conclusion, what do you think? So which ones hold you? Do you want the more customizable and faster processing experience, or do you like the better photos and the more original Android experience that you find in the Pixel Fold? Well, there you go, the honest truth. A lot of folks just talk about manufacturer versus manufacturer and not the actual practicality in using both, and how the choice really comes down to your preference. On the day-to-day, they both perform really well. It's just, for me, I prefer the wider screen. Maybe it's because I'm older and I need more screen, who knows? but I really just enjoy the pure Android experience. And full disclosure, I'm not a gamer, so that part doesn't really appeal to me. What about you? I want to know what you think. Leave me comments down below. What is your choice? Or is there some other factor that made you decide one or the other? And of course, while you're down there, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more content on these phones and others. And of course, while you're down there, smash that like button because it really does help out the channel. And if you haven't already, go check us out on the different social medias out there. We're trying to get out there to give you more media content and give you more ability to have conversations and let us know what you think. I need ideas from you. I want to know what kind of content you want to see. So don't forget to comment here or on our social media. Thanks for hanging out with me. Until next time, God bless.